Welcome, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today for Design Your Life, Rebooting Your Post-Pandemic Academic Career, presented to us by Gabriella Jordan. I'm Megan Peterman. I'm from Kendall Hunt Publishing Company. We're very, very excited to partner with Handle Group today to bring you this kind of time of professional development as we are getting ready to launch back into the fall semester, kind of starting to think in that direction. It's great that we can gather for a time of inspiration and insight. But the wonderful Gaby Jordan is presenting for us today. She's an executive coach with the Handle Group. She's worked in a variety of career environments, including 15 years in a prestigious New York law firm. She's been vice president for direct marketing company, and now she teaches others how to live lives of design, both personally and professionally. So without further ado, Gaby, I'll turn it over to you. Thank you very much for joining us today.
Absolutely, my pleasure. Thank you for including us in your community. One of the things I really love to do is to bring communities together and to really have people be available as resources for themselves and for others, right? So I just want to introduce you to two of my colleagues who are here with us today, Tammy Trujillo, and who's come from California. She's lived in California. Jenny Morrison, who is currently in Georgia, but lives in Austin, and I'm in New York City. So Jenny is the director of programming for us in the education division of Handle Group. And I'm going to give you a little bit of background about who we are, where we've been, what we do, so you know who's actually speaking today. And I will continue as people come on to invite them to come on screen. Tammy will be great about that as well. But so Handle Group is an executive and life coaching company, and we have 5 different divisions. We have a life coaching division where we talk one-on-one to people and in small groups. And in that division, we talk to about 1,000 people a week. And that was, what used to be a month, and then the pandemic hit and it became a week because we had community calls in the morning. We had wine down with Marnie in the evening. You could bring your wine or not, completely up to you, but you got to do a lot of whining, the other kind of whining. And then we had creating innovate calls for business folks in the middle of the day. And all of it was designed, as I said, to bring together community so that people could keep themselves moving forward during this period of time. And then we have a sports division where we work with current and former NFL players, Olympic coaches, a couple of Olympians. We actually got someone to the Olympics, yay us. We did not teach her how to skate. She knew how to do that just fine, but it was the inner dialogue that was more of the issue. But she was the first woman ever to do a reverse triple axel in the Olympics. So that's a very proud accomplishment for us. We have a corporate division where we work in organizations, large, small, from a 3-person startup to United Airlines, BASF, Arista Records, Warner Records, everything in between. There we work with individuals, coaching them, executives and leaders of companies, taking them to the next level. Or we do a process of resolution of toxic relationships. And we lead building honest culture workshops and cultural transformation and diversity work. I am a senior coach in that division, as well as running the education division. And that's really how we're here today. And in the education division, we do everything we do in the other divisions. We just do it in the context of schools. So we teach students, we coach faculty, dean, do professional development for teachers. And we started at MIT in 2006 teaching a course called Design Your Life, and we are still there today, proudly. I went to NYU and I created something called Empowering Women in Science, which quickly became women, men, undergrads, grads, postdocs, faculty programming. Then I did something at Stanford Business School for 5 years, a course called Leading Your Life. And in the med school, it was called Empowering Emerging Scientists. We are back at Stanford for another 5-year run in the fall. London School of Economics, Nova University, high school students in New York City, kindergarten through 8th grade. And all of those individuals are doing what you're going to do today. This is the beginning. This is an introduction. This is a snippet. So the intention of today is really to both introduce you to who we are, what we do, where we do it, give you some tools so you really can go out and take that post-pandemic, or dare I say mid-pandemic, who knows where we are, but we definitely are evolving, right? And keep dreaming and keep your eye on the right ball for you, the one that you say that you want. Give you some tools on how to actually not just dream, but make it happen. And then also let you know about an opportunity that we're doing with educators later in the summer. So that's a little bit about Handel Group, who we are. Me personally, as Megan mentioned, I'm a lawyer, practiced law for 15 years, then went off, did direct marketing, really have been coaching for about 30 years. Even when I was a lawyer, I was doing that. And then when the two sisters who founded Handel came to me, and I'd known them from another life, and they said, we're starting a company, would you join us? I couldn't resist the mission. And shortly after I got there, they asked me to run the education division, which I've been doing since 2006. So it is really, and then a new entity, I won't say part of the Handel Group, but definitely supported by Handel. We call it powered by Handel. So we actually started a nonprofit. We started a nonprofit week because we're committed to really being able to expand what we do and bring it to disadvantaged groups, bring it to people who couldn't potentially have access to university setting or a big company or a small company. So, and that's actually called Human Better EDU. So we are proudly proceeding with that, and really thrilled in the opportunity to really support more and more humans in the opportunity to have extraordinary lives that they love. So that's a little bit about who we are, background, etc. And I'm delighted to see people here from so many different locations, universities. Really is an opportunity for you to actually have this conversation be about you. And today's going to be an interactive session. This is not a lecture. That is not what I do, but it really is an opportunity for you to participate and create for yourself and with others. And some of you may know each other because you're a part of this organization, and you should really make sure to use each other to support what you create today. And that, feel free to use us, but I just want to really point to community and the opportunity of community and the difference that it makes. So in when we do work with folks, and as I say, we do the same work with people in whatever division they show up, but it's in the context of, what their current concerns are, what their current pain points are, what they care about. And we start you from the premise that you are the author. You get to say, you have authored in your life. There are things in your life that you've made happen that you said, I'm going to do this come hell or high water. And you did. And I would love to hear a couple of examples for you so that you can really presence that for yourself of where you've made that happen. So who'd like to share? Who'd like to, jump off mute and share? And if you don't want to come off mute, you can turn your video on too. I haven't forgotten. If you come off mute or put it in the chat. Like, what's something that you made happen? You said, I'm going to do it, and you did it. Thanks, Craig. Thanks, Jacqueline.
I can go.
Excellent, Tara. Thank you.
I am very happy to share that something I never thought I could do, and it's been many years since I've done it. I will put that caveat in there.
All right.
I once ran 2 half marathons in the same month. Couldn't do it all at once. Couldn't do a full marathon, but I never thought I could do that. And that was something that I set my mind to, and I did do it once, and hopefully one day again.
Beautiful. Awesome. Congratulations. I have never done that. That's awesome. Good.
Thank
cool.
you.
Who else? Something you said you could do. Colleen.
Yes, I am the first one in my family to go to post-secondary and graduate school.
Beautiful.
And all the people who told me not to be an educator because there were no jobs, and I've been doing it for 35 years. But my other one is soon after grad school, I wanted to do something else for the world and found a way to go work in a refugee camp for a year in Malaysia.
Oh, beautiful.
And it was life-changing.
Yes, I'm sure. Awesome. Beautiful. Thank you. Good. Who else? Somebody else. Something you made happen. Something you made happen. You said, and you didn't even know how to do it necessarily. Yes, beautiful. Move to the US. Awesome. Right. Who else? Something you made happen.
Well, hi, this is Selena.
Hi, Selena. Thank you for coming on screen.
Something I did with 2 of my coworkers, we wrote a couple of textbooks because we were tired of using books that we didn't use the whole textbooks when we're teaching. So we wrote one that we use now from cover to cover. And that was a major undertaking. Even the publisher was like, I'm surprised y'all got it done, because we had a limited amount of time to get ready to use the next semester, but we did it.
Oh, beautiful. Awesome. Right. Awesome. So, and you all have one. You all have something that you have made happen. You all, right? So I want you to get very present to that, because it's key to what you are now going to go create for yourself in this post-pandemic world. And the thing is, sometimes we can remember the things that we accomplish well, but then, and see that we really did author it. And then sometimes the things that are not going so well, we forgot that we're the author. And really that's what happened, is we forgot. So I want to start you at another place that we start, which is dreaming, really getting dreaming. So as I mentioned, we did a bunch of community calls and really did a lot of work with people during the lockdowns. We want to get people connected to your dream. We did that before, we did that during. The point is, there's no reason to stop. There may be obstacles that you have, but no reasons to stop. And so where we're really focusing on, while we could focus long-term, and when you do work with us, for example, I didn't mention that we also have a digital program called Inner You. And when you do work with us, you actually go to work on getting what you want and your dreams. And while in Inner You, we have 12 areas of life, here I'm going to have you work with just one and have you look at, okay, what are you creating for yourself, or what could you create for yourself between this end of the summer and the fall to launch you to what you want to be doing next? And so I want everybody to come up with one area that they'd like to impact, right? The one area that they'd like to impact themselves or others, and then create a dream for yourself. And I'll give you an example of that, but create a dream for yourself of what you want in this one area. And in a moment, we'll put up different areas. You know, there's life, there's love, there's relationship to yourself, there's spirituality, there's fun and adventure, there's your money, there's career, there's your relationship to your family. So time, your relationship to time. A few people I know could work on relationship to time, right? But something that you want to impact for yourself. And I'm going to give you some specifics about how to create that dream so that you have it. And this is just a starting point, but it's a starting point to get you start percolating. So when you are creating your dream, and why we want you to create your dream is because your dream becomes your GPS. Your dream becomes the North Star, where you're going towards. If you do not create a dream, you live in a default reality and things just happen to you rather than because you say that you're going to make them happen. And so I'd like you to look for yourself in one area that if you actually took it on for yourself, it would actually inspire you. And mostly we don't allow ourselves to dream, right? And when we were little, we were great at dreaming. As we got older, it sort of dumbed down. We decided what we could accomplish. We decided we needed to be reasonable and rational and adult, right? Rather than being willing to live in the excitement of the dream. And mostly it's because we were afraid it couldn't happen. And so we want to intrude into that. We want to actually impact that. There's the last educator cohort that we led, we had a teacher who, did the program, was great. She brought us to our school, was great. And we get, one of our colleagues gets a text message from her, and it's a video. And it's her in a BMW convertible zipping down the street. And then she writes, Handel Group, fun and adventure, 10 out of 10. We're like, what happened? Something she's always wanted to do was to get a BMW, but she had all these conversations in her head about she shouldn't do that, and that's not reasonable, and it's expensive, and then she decided, you know what? I'm worth it. It's my money. I can do what I want with it. And she did it. Now, that might not be your dream, and it's fine if you're not. But the point is you can overcome those things in your head. And that's the access we want to give people. And it starts with a dream. So I want you to pick an area. Does everyone have an area that they could pick? And if not, raise your hand, take yourself off mute, or raise your internet hand. Does everybody have an area they could pick for this particular exercise? You're not stuck with it. But for this particular exercise,
Gaby, Julie might need some help. She said she's having a hard time thinking about what my dream would be, but my relationship with time would be the area that I need to work on before stepping on to the next dream. And boy, do I relate to that, Julie. I'm the queen of needing work and time. Yes.
Yeah, beautiful. So Julie, if your relationship to time is an area, pick that. Oh, you were totally not alone, honey. Totally not alone at all, right? So pick that one. Pick that as your dream, okay? So anybody else who could use some support in figuring out, just for purposes of this exercise, which dream to use or which area to use. Going once, going twice. Okay, so I'm assuming you each have an area. Make sure get something to write with or type whatever. Here's what you want to do. So you want to look to say, okay, here it is, July. By the end of the year, right? So this is something you're taking for end of August into September to launch you. By the end of the year, what would your dream in this area look like? What would a 9 or 10 look like? So on a scale of 1 to 10, with 9 or 10 being unbelievably fabulous, what would it look like? And here's what I want to say. You want to have it be specific. Capture what it feels like, what it looks like. Make sure that it inspires you, even could scare you, but it's not a pipe dream. It's a stretch, but doable, okay? Write it in the present tense. It feels different when you write it in the present tense. It feels different. It makes you accountable in a different way. Have it be a stretch, but not a pipe dream. Focus on what you do want, not what you don't want. When you put actually, there's a reason for that, because there's science behind it, that to the extent you put in there what you don't want, your brain doesn't read the don't or the not. It only reads what the substance is, and so it will go there. So don't put in your dream what you don't want, because you will pollute the dream. And then be honest. In this moment, we're not worried about the rationality. Can I really get there? Does it really? What we're concerned with is, what do you really want? Okay, so use that as a way to actually identify and be honest with it. So I'm going to now give you an example of one, just to see if it can inspire you, see what you can hear in this, given what I just said. All right, so I wake up every day excited for what I'm going to do that day. My work is actually something I want to do. My new research role enables me to grow and evolve all the intellectual areas I've been missing. I actually respect the people I work with. Their decent leadership arrives and sticks around in my department. I actually feel I can go to them for mentorship and advice for once. My research assistants are finally arriving with the basic skills instead of me spending weeks up-leveling their research abilities. Hallelujah. I'm better at balancing my schedule and work-life balance. I even get home in time for my daughter's soccer games on occasion, and don't even feel as guilty about what work I have left to do like I used to. Now, that dream's okay, but it sort of misses some of the things that I said, right? And so it's an example of a not so good dream. And by the way, probably in the first instance, none of your dreams are going to be awesome, because we're not trained to think that way, right? And so if the example I just gave you, you could hear the negatives. And when you read your dream, it's supposed to motivate you, not necessarily point to the things that you don't like. Oh, I actually like to do this. Finally, right? I finally have research assistants who show up in a way that I can work with them. Okay, not so awesome. Okay, here's take 2. I love my work. I'm amazed at how I've evolved my research and teaching roles to align with my deeper passions for the field. I arrive at work with curiosity and the excitement I had as a postdoctoral student. Yay. I move between various responsibilities with ease and joy and fluidity. I'm a master of my own time, and my scheduling prowess ensures it all gets done. I'm truly present when engaging with my students in office hours or when in front of the classroom. I'm prepared when I attend meetings. I'm able to leave it all at the office and to spend exceptional quality time with my family on a daily basis. I'm powerful and clear about my vision, and I'm in the right, consistent, and bold actions to achieve it. My research team is a reflection of me, honest, driven, gutsy, fun, and inspired. I feel challenged, loved, and supported in my role and by my colleagues in my department. I have what I need to grow and thrive. I'm proud of how my research, teaching, service, and publications reflect my passions and talents in the world. Now, that's a lot, right? But you can get the sense, can you hear the difference in the inspiration of the second one versus the negativity? So I want you to be thinking of that. All right, so I'm going to give you a couple of minutes just to write down what would your dream be in that area. Go.
Gaby, do you see Seth's?
I do. I'm reading it right now.
Right on.
Beautiful. All right, Seth, would you be willing to read your dream?
Sure. So my dream and GPS is a breakthrough. That will be one that was specific to me, but then I went into my 10-year-old son wants to publish. And actually he's finished a very short book on graphing calculators. And he's published, he has it published. Well, I'm sorry, he has finished it. It's not published. But the hope is at the end of the year, this book has been made into a small pamphlet-like version that will be sent with the, when teachers buy those 20, those the calculators that comes in with it. And so they'll have a chance to read his story. So fascinated with their graphing calculators. And it will hopefully inspire a new generation of math students. And of course, my son wants to go to MIT. He's never changed that since kindergarten. So hopefully this will help him pay for that.
I can't wait to see him there. I can't wait to, let's create that he actually has that. All right, good. Can I give you a little coaching on your dream? Cool. So awesome. The thing that I would say is I'd like you in there, right? So, a breakthrough invention, that's like a goal. So you might actually expound that part. It's clear about your son, right? That you really, you live in that. But so for I would say, I've had a breakthrough invention, sorry. And then say a little bit more about it and how it makes you feel. Because we connect from the heart. So you want to include whether it's inspiring, whether you're proud, whatever that is, that's the part that really pulls you, okay? And then, and then as it relates to your son, what you would say is, my son has published a short graphic calculator, right? Instead of wants to. So it's the saying it in the present tense, like we know this is aspirational. We know that it's not yet in existence, but this is the thing that it's pulling and fueling you. So my son has published a short graphic calculator, right? Book, period. You don't need to, I hope, and publish, right? At the end of the year, that book is sent to classrooms and inspires students in US math classes all over the country. It actually enables him to pay for MIT. Okay, so it's just tweaks, right? but it makes a difference in how powerful it is. So thank you for throwing it in there and going first. I appreciate it. I hope everybody else could hear from there. Okay, good. So
sorry, Julie is put her time dream in the web chat. Just wanted you to know that was there, as has Ron
okay.
Sumner.
Okay, so yes, there are a few others have put theirs in as well. All right, so let's do Julie, because Julie said Julie. So I have adept skills with scheduling, manageable. Well, where's Julie? Julie can read it. I need to read it. Where's Julie? Oh, Julie, where are you?
Julie
there she is.
No,
I see her.
Yes, but I think it's
Oh
Julie.
no, it's a different Julie. Sorry. So, oh, she doesn't have a mic. All right, I'll read it.
She doesn't have a mic, right?
Okay, great. I have adept skills with my scheduling in a box after moving. I hear you. You don't even want to know. we're still coming out of a move. Okay. All right. I have adept skills with scheduling manageable deadlines for myself, which enables me to have healthy work-life balance where I can turn off my computer on a Friday and enjoy quality time with my family on the weekends. Got it. Okay, good. I would love to have a little bit more juice. I think it's awesome, but I'd love to have a little bit more juice in that dream. Like, how does it make you feel? What do you appreciate about it? Okay, so that's how I would continue to modify that. Okay, great. All right, so next piece. So you starting with the dream, you got the rules of that dream, right? Now what you want to do is you actually want to say, okay, where am I currently? Where am I currently on a scale of 1 to 10? With 9 or 10 being amazing, it's great, couldn't get any better. 1 being, oh my lordy, send me off that bridge now. That is not happening. Assign it a number. And a low number is not a bad number. It's just something that hasn't gotten attention. So everybody have a number? Okay. That number enables you to get a sense of where you are. And then typically the reason that we have whatever number we have has reasons that come with it. They're very true for you. We like to call those reasons, if you're anything less than an 8, we like to call them excuses. Even though they're your reality, maybe they're not the reality. So we want to look to see, okay, on a scale, anything less than an 8, I forgot to say this part of creating this dream of what you want to have happen, anything that's less than an 8, identify what are the reasons that you say it's less than an 8. What are the reasons you say it's less than an 8? I don't have the time, I don't have the money, I don't have the resources, I don't have what I need, like all of that stuff. Put that in there. All the reasons you don't have what you want. And also, if anybody inflated their rating, be conscious of that too, right? Like, so if you want to win the Nobel Prize for Literature and the last thing you've written is a text to your mother saying why you haven't called her, probably it deserves a 2. Okay, so make sure that your rating is accurate.
Is asking a question, is the number grading your dream?
No, thank you very much for that question. The number is grading where you currently are as against the dream. So your dream should be a 9 or a 10. The number where you're telling the truth about what it looks like now, so Nobel Prize for Literature, but you never write, is not so hot. Okay, so everybody have a number and everybody have the reasons why you don't. Yes, so throw your number in the chat just so you can get a little reality check for you. Thanks, Daniel. 4. Yeah, very good. Great. Awesome. Amen for truth tellers. Okay, cool. Great. All right, beautiful. Now, what you want to now identify is, okay, what we say is in those areas of life where you are living below an 8, all that's happened is that you've forgotten that you're the author. Remember in that area you made something happen? You just forgot it in this area. And you have a lot of good reasons. So now I'd like you to actually articulate, just jot down, this is not fancily written, all the reasons why not. As I said, time, money, lazy, whatever. And I want to talk to you about what they are, those excuses. So we say that in an area where you're below an 8, there's one of 3 voices at play. One is the chicken. You're just afraid of something. It's risky. You might get in trouble. Somebody might get mad at you. You actually have to make a request and somebody might decline. That's the chicken. The second is the brat. The brat is the voice of the entitled 4-year-old in an adult body saying, I don't wanna, and you can't make me. Even if you are the one who's trying to make you do something. Brat shows up a lot in diet and exercise, or annoyance with your colleague. Let me give you a work example, right? You have a little bit of a dispute with one of your colleagues, and then you see them at a meeting and like, and then you go back to your desk and she actually asks you for something, sends you an email, and you say to yourself, you know what? I get to that tomorrow. Tomorrow seems like a great day to get to that. That would be a brat, because you know it's not really supporting your common efforts. That's a brat. Then the third voice is the voice of passive helplessness. It's called the weather reporter. The weather reporter reports on circumstances in life as if it's the weather and there's nothing I can do about it. Oh, well, it's raining. Let me get an umbrella. I couldn't possibly run. It's raining. That's a brat and a weather together. It's hot outside. I should wear a t-shirt. The economy sucks. It's a pandemic. And I know that one's true. Okay, so get that I'm not saying it's every single one. However, there is how you deal with it. There is how you deal with it. In the area where you authored something, where you were the CEO of your life, you did not let that stop you. Somebody made it to Malaysia. Somebody wrote a textbook. You were an author in those areas. So all that's happened in these areas is you are listening to your excuses rather than the dream. That's all, right? And to the extent it's like, it's just the way it is, you're just giving those excuses more power than your author, your dreamer. And that doesn't mean, okay, so the first part about is actually recognizing it. Right? So I want to hear some people share some stuff about where they see, and why I want you to do this is the more that you can articulate what those excuses are and what yours sound like, the more effective you're going to be in overcoming them.
And Gaby, I would just like to commend this group because they're doing a great job identifying and acknowledging some of their bratty behavior, which is
so true.
Great.
So
recognition is half the battle, right?
That's right. Exactly. So let's hear some. Michelle says, I'm a bratty weather reporter. Oh, Tara, you look like you had your hand raised.
I'm between the whole bratty, being a brat and being a weather reporter. For me, the challenge is sometimes it's not knowing. Like I know a lot of people have work-life balance as one of the things that's probably an excuse. For me, it was, I wasn't a working parent before the pandemic. I was a stay-at-home consulting adjunct instructor. And then I went full-time right before the pandemic started. So I never got my groove coming back to work full-time with 2 kids who were often at home on and off during the pandemic, 2 little ones. So my question sometimes is, my excuse is, I don't know how yet. I don't know how to find my balance and to plan and organize. And I would like to, but I don't know how. So I don't know if that's me being a brat or a weather reporter. I don't know.
It is just, that's more of a weather report. It's actually both. Oh, by the way, didn't mean to suggest that we had one or the other. Oh, no. We as human beings, we have all 3. That's, and they're different in different areas. The thing that's most important is to see that it's an excuse, right? And so in the not knowing how, but just to use that as an example, it is like, ask somebody, try something, put something in place. Like the next piece that I'm going to talk about is how to overcome those excuses, but it really is being in action relative to making something happen, right? And what we call integrity, right? So what we say is the secret sauce to success is integrity. Being consistent with your dreams, having your dreams, your actions, and your reality match. So that really is about integrity. And sometimes you have to make requests. Sometimes you have to give yourself some discipline, not listen to those voices, right? So your personal integrity, as we've defined it, is the ability to make and keep a promise to yourself that is a match with your dreams. So it's alignment of your heart, head, and your body. So your heart comes up with the dream, the head comes up with the plan, and your body takes the actions. So it really is this key to success and to happiness. And it's not a get there thing. It's like, okay, now I got it, I'm done. No. It is day to day, year to year. But the good news is we got a lot of leeway. I mean, we got a lot of runway, runway to go, right? And the thing about it is we are terrible at keeping promises to ourselves. If your grandmother needs to go to the doctor at 3 o'clock, who do you think's getting to the doctor at 3 o'clock? Boniface knows, right? Like, your grandmother needs to go, you're making sure she goes. You need to go to the doctor. All right, other than the fact you have an appointment, it's like an idea, like I should go to the doctor, like not so fast, like last on the list always, right? So the thing that we need to see is how we suck, pardon me, at keeping promises to ourselves. So, and taking actions, right? So one of the, we created a tool for accountability. And that tool is called a promise. It's a framework, actually. A promise, a consequence, and someone to hold you accountable. Anytime you want to change anything in your life, those three things. And when you're in Inner You or when you're in one of our classes, we actually support you in figuring out the right promises and the right consequences in order to make something happen. So first we want to look at promises and use that area that you've got. A promise is a specific, quantifiable action that you're taking. So you want to be realistic, want to stretch yourself, be specific in a dimension of time. Use powerful language. And then what we say is manage the external world. What do I mean by that is, well, if you are going to a desert island where you know that there's not a gym, all right, you're probably not going to a desert island with that, but whatever. But let's just say you're going to a desert island without a gym. You're not going to say, oh, I'm going to the gym 3 times a week. No, you might say, I'll run around the island 30 minutes for 3 days a week for 30 minutes. But manage, be responsible in your creating of your promise that you can actually keep it, right? So when you're being realistic, you're actually making a promise you believe can happen, right? Promising to win the lottery is not really a good promise, okay? Make sure that your promises are a stretch for you, right? So do something you've been putting off. Do the thing that immediately came to mind the minute I said what you should be doing, right? That one, yes. So, and then being specific is like how often you're going to do it, how long, how many. So, for example, a good dream might be, a good promise might be, I'm going to read my dream to 3 people a day, so that you get public about what you care about. So you put yourself on the hook for what you care about. Don't say, I hope, I will, I try. That's not powerful language. And then we like to say, oh, with Handel, you have to have a sense of humor, right? We want you to, because if you don't have a sense of humor, you're not going to do anything about it. You'll suppress it and pretend it doesn't exist. So what we say is we want you to get the joke. Make the promises in the areas that you need them, okay? So to give you some examples of promises, because I want you to come up with at least 1 or 2 promises that will move you up the scale in that area you talked about. So some examples. I'm going to exercise for 30 minutes 3 times this week. I'll do 5 spontaneous nice things for my partner this week. I'll make 5 contacts to fill the research fellowship this week. I'll clean off my desk at home by this Friday. I won't check my email between 6 and 9 p.m. So those are just examples of, let's hear some for you that would be good for you. What are some examples that would be good for you? Do we have some in that? Ooh, here we go, Julie. 30 minutes a day to organizing my time schedule for the day during the work week. I promise to dedicate 30 minutes a day to organize my time schedule for the day during the work week. Okay, good. Yes, that's a very good thing that you said there. Like, if you just say 30 minutes a day and you're not clear about whether you mean a work week or the entire week, you get sort of funky with that, right? Yeah, perfect. I promise.
And you
to
might,
finish
like for
chapter.
me also, I'll do it by 9 a.m. or, make sure it gets done by a certain time if you find you're not sticking to it.
Yeah, good. I'll take a lunch break and eat away from my desk. Very good. And how many days a week is that? Boniface? Five days. Okay, perfect. Thank you very much. Good. All right, who else? Other promises that you should be making. Adhere to my daily writing schedule for at least 90 minutes, 5 times a day in the morning. Very good. Perfect. Promise to write 30 minutes a day, Monday to Sunday. Perfect. All right, good. You get the concept. Now, sometimes, and by the way, keep putting your promises in there because this is giving you accountability because you're putting it out into the world. So that helps. Now, sometimes promises feel like New Year's resolutions. It's great. Awesome. Yay, you. That was January. February 12th, it's like, what did I say? I got busy. It's okay. No. So that's why we came up with the second piece. That's a consequence. There are natural consequences to anything you do or you don't do in life. If you want to lose weight and you insist on having the cream-filled donut at Dunkin' Donuts every single day on the way to the park, guess who? In 6 weeks, you're going to see an impact. If 10 pounds flew on your belly the minute you took a bite, guess who might not take a bite of those cream-filled donuts? So we created this artificial structure called consequences. You could also call them incentives to actually help you keep your promises. So you want to look to see, and they have to be specific to you, because a consequence for Colleen might not be a good consequence for Jonathan, right? So you have to just look to see which one works for you. So some examples of that. I have a client who was a big beer drinker, and he had a promise that if he broke it, whatever promise, I don't even remember the promise, if he broke his consequence, he couldn't have his beer that night. For him, that was anathema. I do not drink beer. If you told me I couldn't have my beer every night, I would not care. You tell me I can't have my wine, now we are talking, because I definitely do drink wine, right? Some people don't drink at all. Coffee is good for them. I had a client today who said, oh, if I don't keep my promise, no milk in my coffee the next day, because she hates the taste of coffee without milk, right? So you got to look for the right ones. I had a professor at NYU in my class who, if she didn't write the amount of time she was going to write, she had to call her mother-in-law and speak to her for 15 minutes. Now, she liked her mother-in-law just fine. That wasn't the issue, but she didn't have time to yak on the phone. So that was a good incentive to do something she needed to do anyway. This other professor in my class at NYU, he had a writing promise. If he didn't keep his writing promise, he had to give a book away. And for him, Ronald looks like he could appreciate this. If you had to give away a book, it might actually hurt you. For him, it hurt him. So you just have to find the right one. Oh, I had another professor at NYU that when if she had a big promise, she had a conversation to clean up. Her consequence was she had to go have a conversation with this person that she was mad at, and she wasn't going to do that. And it worked for 9 years as a consequence for her. So she ultimately had the conversation. It was great. It got resolved. It's a whole other story. But the point is, you've got to find the one. You've got to find the one that works for you. And you can play with them, right? You're not stuck with anyone. So if you make a promise and you break it and you pay your consequence, you make a promise, you pay it, you break it and you pay your consequence, I'm going to then say maybe you need a different consequence because the consequence isn't strong enough. Ooh, if you have kids, having your kids hold you to account, they love that. Or having to pay them $1 if you blow it. Jenny knows she has to pay her kids $5 if she curses, right? And then she's been at home, so they've heard her on the phone. Ham comes from the other room. Mom.
There's been a lot of extra Roblox money. Can I also just share one? I had a friend
Yes,
who
please.
was trying to quit smoking and like nothing was working. So this is like, we talked about making sure the consequence fits, the promise, and you try to figure out what you need to accomplish. Well, for her coach had her choose a nonprofit that was the opposite of her ideology.
That's
Right.
That's
So
right.
she's very liberal, chose a very conservative, no political, things. And so what she had to do is if she picked up a cigarette, she was going to have to write a check for $100 to that particular.
Yep.
She never picked up a cigarette again.
Yep. It's amazing how powerful we can become if we have the right consequence. Yes, Michelle asked the question, is a consequence more powerful than a reward? We have found so. So there's some people say, no, but I prefer rewards. I don't want to punish yourself. First of all, consequences are not punishments. I have to say that over and over again. They really are incentives to help you keep your dream. Okay. So the thing about a reward is typically what happens when you break a promise. If you don't get a reward, you're like, yeah, I wasn't getting that anyway. Right. But a consequence would be just annoying enough, not painful, but annoying enough to be like, oh, I'd really rather keep my promise. Right. And so it takes some working with that in order to actually have it be workable for you. So examples, I don't exercise for 30 minutes 3 times a week. I won't drink alcohol for the weekend. I'll do 5 spontaneous nice things for my partner. Or I'll clean out the garage on Sunday. I had another client who had a recruiting promise. And if he didn't do X number of interviews, he had to do a favor for his wife on the weekend, which she was perfectly delighted to hear, right? But it was incentive for him. So you use them for a way that supports you. So let's hear some that you have come up with for yourself. Like, what do you think would be good for you? No coffee. Okay, very good. Yes, and then you should figure out for what period of time, right? Like, so for example, if I don't keep my promises the next day, when do I get like no coffee? Sorry, if I don't keep my promises, then no coffee the next day. The other thing for those people who are really big coffee drinkers is you can say, I'll complete the thing that I need to complete before I have my cup of coffee. That's another way to go about it, right? So you can structure them so they work with you. Just watch out for those smart rats. Our brains are very smart and tricky around things. 30 minutes of workout a day, 5 days a week, or no wine in the evening on any, perfect way. Yeah, very good. So, and the other thing you want to do is get a buddy, get someone to hold you to account. They don't have to do anything, but you need to report into them. It shouldn't be someone who's going to let you get away with it. Should not be someone who's going to say, oh, you're so sorry, you poor thing. No, bad plan for a buddy. This is somebody who cares about your dreams and cares about your dreams sometimes more than you, because given that you're the one who's been, letting your dreams fall by the wayside, you want to get somebody who actually cares if you succeed or not. And you just report into them. Here's my promise. Here's my consequence. I kept my promise. Didn't need to pay a consequence. I broke my promise. I paid a consequence. Simple, no long story, right? And you get yourself into that rhythm and you will be shocked to see how effective you can be. And then if it's not sufficient, then you might need, and sometimes you need to change the promise because it's not realistic for the time that you have. That's fine. But don't change it before the end of the week. Just pay your consequence for having blown it, right? It'll wake you up to what you really care about. Okay. So, questions about promises, consequences. So we had the dream, saw what you authored. We have the dream. We have your reasons, your excuses that you want to be catching. And then we have a mechanism for how to have you actually have your dream, promises, consequences, someone to hold you accountable. That's a snippet. That's where we start in the Handel method, right? And so we have many different principles that we engage with people, and how to have a hard conversation, frameworks for how to have a hard conversation. All of that is in Inner You, which is our digital platform. Also, it's in the programs we teach. But this is a way to start to get you to engage in a way that's really, coaching is designed to be very practical, step by step, in order to have you succeed and really be happy, proud, inspired. And happy, proud, inspired is really what gets you to have your dreams. So questions for anyone? Or comments, or what do you see for yourself? I'll take that too. Yeah, very good. Yeah. Yes, it's true. Right. And you're building a muscle. That is really what you're doing, is building a muscle. Dreams about how to better oneself for people, but doesn't make, it makes a difference what's important to you. So Ming Lu asked a question, whether dreams about how to better yourself or people at large, it makes a difference of what's important to you. That you are the one, this is really about you being the author and you're designing and you getting to say, and there might be a combination. You know, sometimes people say, oh, this is very self-centered. This particular exercise looks at, we want to empower you to be able to, empower you to be able to create the dream that you want and give you the tools to believe in yourself. Before you go to impact the world, you need to believe you can, because you need to be reliable to yourself. And so it's not one or the other is better. It's just that you want to make sure you have the right tools and agency and knowing that you can do it, because that's what makes the difference and has you be more effective. Thanks for the question.
Gaby,
can you
we
work
have
on multiple dreams at once?
Yes.
Yes.
I was going to say, some of these questions are a great segue. I know you're running a little short on time to talk about the designing your life for educators, because a lot of this takes us deeper, but I wanted you just to give,
yes.
of course,
so,
answer.
So for Catherine, for example, yes, what we do typically when we start you is you pick 1 to 3 dreams to start working on, 1 to 3 areas of life to start working on. We're not trying to overload you, because we want you to really get grow that muscle. So what Jenny's talking about is, we ran last summer and we are running again in August, starting in August, an educator cohort, which is a 6-week program. So first off, you get Inner You, which is our digital platform. The 6-week cohort is a 6-week workshop to help you get started in Inner You. And it's starting from August 19th to September 23rd, 7 to 8 p.m. Eastern. It's being led by one of our other fabulous coaches, Casey Seidenberg. And we started running these classes last year for educators who were interested in, 1, having it in their own life, but 2, potentially bring it into the classroom. And so we thought it'd be a great opportunity to invite you into this. You know, it's $99. That's, you know, like we're giving it away. But really, and then Inner You as an educator, you actually get for free. That's typically a $400 cost. But that's our gift to you as educators. But the thing about being in the workshop is that it provides you community of people who are like-minded, who are dealing. And so, as I said, the woman with the BMW, she was a high school teacher. She actually came out of her 6-week participation. We shared about her in our newsletter recently. But anyway, so you're invited to join that. It'd be great if you, just want to get Inner You. That's an option for you as well. And yes, will we be offering the workshop again? Yes, we will. We don't have another time yet. And then we will also, yes, we will be sending information to the participants who, people who registered for this. So yes, you will be able to get that. And I mentioned the Secret Sauce Summit. Or I mentioned the secret sauce. I didn't mention the summit. We're right now in the midst of, we're like halfway through a 14-day summit, which has 21 different experts speaking on different topics. It's free. Tammy can throw that into the chat as well, so that if you want to jump on the tail end of it, it's great. And it's just a different way, other people that we are connected with, colleagues, friends, who come from different walks of life. It's a gift. It's another gift that we're offering to the community. So with that, I think we're just about time. Oh, Tammy, if you have other questions or want to get in touch with us, yes, you can get in touch with Tammy. Put in my email, Jenny's email, into the chat. happy to talk about any of your education interests or needs or wants, available for that. And I just have to thank you for participating and really being such an active group of participants. That's really delight, and I fully appreciate, and I appreciate you as educators. You know, obviously that is near and dear to my heart. I'm on a mission. We're on a mission to really be able to support education in a way that adds new dimensions to it, and like in the everyday living of life. So.
And I just wanted to put in a quick plug. Gaby, thank you so much for this. It's amazing. I listen to many presentations by Gaby, and I always take something away. And I thank you. It's very inspiring. And one of the beauties of like what we're setting up with this, the training cohorts, is that you just can't get enough of this, and you can't have enough community around you to keep you in this space. And so I just wanted to also say a number of questions that I've seen in the chat. I know you're also thinking about your own students and what you might be thinking about in terms of how do I take this and apply it in my classroom, which is why I know a lot of people have come, and we go through a lot of those details in the Designing Your Life for Educators. So the concept is that you get yourself uplifted and really engaged in our method and learning a lot more, and then you begin to be able to facilitate and role model that for your students. And we have multiple stages where we help support people to develop that in their classroom. But, you know, I just wanted to acknowledge that, and I'm sorry, I don't have my screen. It was, I'm so sorry. It was, Anne, thank you, Anne. You had said that one of the fundamental obstacles is defining the dream. And we also work with you, you know, individually, and also to think about how to help support younger people, because often that can be a challenge. So I just wanted to say, I hope that some of you that are interested will either reach out to us and we can share more information and or anything you might have in mind in terms of working with this program in your classroom. We are here to help, and we love to design just what people need.
We do.
Yeah, thank you.
All right. Thank you so much. Appreciate each of you. Have a great rest of the summer. Go get that dream.